Great. It's good to be here this time to welcome you to this lecture on entrepreneurship. Uh, I know time has been fast spent, but we can start the process this way. I'm doing this pre-recording to send to you, and we will meet in other live sessions. So, usually, uh, we want to know who an entrepreneur is, right? So simply, we're talking about people who think about a business to set up a business, right? And these people usually are people who are willing to take financial risks, take on financial risks. Uh, the aim is at the end of the day, they are going to get some profit, but they have to get started with something, so they take the risks to begin. An entrepreneur is also someone who thinks about creating new businesses, right? There's a lot of things out there, there's a lot of problems out there that need solution. So entrepreneurs sit and think about how they can provide new services or design new products that are able to solve those problems. So you can see them just simply as people who are innovators, right? They look at new ideas, they look for services, like I've said, create goals, and they make sure that these things are available for our use. So these are smart people, creative people who want to ensure that they solve certain problems, but they are bearing in mind that they are taking risk, but at the same time they are sure that if they were able to solve this problem and solve it efficiently, they could also get some benefits or profits. So there are things we look for, qualities we look for in entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs should be problem solvers, like we just mentioned, right? They identify a problem and then they come up with solutions. They come up with new methods and ways they can be able to address those problems, right? Like in society, uh, like I said, there are many things we need to do. There are many problems we need to solve. So society has a lot of things going on around us. There are a lot of things going on. What do you do? As an entrepreneur, you look and say, what can I do to find solution to this problem? How can I provide service in this area? And then you come up with something. That's one of the qualities of entrepreneurs. They are problem solvers. Like we said, they are innovative people, right? They come up with great ideas, and then these ideas help them to design new products and services. And sometimes they may not design new products, they could also improve on existing products or renew other products or businesses that are in existence. That's the innovation. So that's another. Of course, you cannot make any business without taking risk. So an entrepreneur is also a risk taker, right? You have to see it and say, okay, I'm going to spend some time. I'm going to put money in this. Um, Let me see if this is going to be possible that I get something out of it. So you put in your time, you put in money. Sometimes you even put your reputation, all right? Because mind you, if anything goes wrong, it's not only going to make you lose money, it's also going to affect your person, who you are, depending on the kind of activity that you undertook. So entrepreneurs are always willing to take risk uh, before and after the business is started, when they are developing new ideas and approaches. You know, it's another quality, right? Another quality of entrepreneurs is what we call the contrariness. Now, you want to solve problem, you want to answer questions, why certain thing is happening, how this thing is happening, why certain things are being done the way they are done, how they are done the way they are done, right? And sometimes those processes are not even really clear, but you want to find out why they are the way they are. That's one thing entrepreneurs also do. Sometimes they're curious, want to know, find answers to questions. And the more you work on yourself in finding answers to questions, the better position you are in to be able to solve problems. And solving problem, looking at that activity in the direction of making business, in the direction of getting some new things done that will help to improve the quality of life for yourself and for society. Another thing is entrepreneurs are persistent. So you don't easily get discouraged about things. You're always willing to work. And, things happen, will discourage you. You have challenges that will come about, but you have to stand willing to go through those challenges, right? To ensure that you are able to solve those challenges. Some point you have to go to meet people who will give you money, like bankers, right? You got to call on people who will come to buy from you, your clients, for example. You encourage people to start the business, and then you want to ensure that it works at all costs. So you do everything in your power to make sure that it works. Leadership. Well, it is important for you to have good leadership ability. And, so those who are entrepreneurs, those who become successful as entrepreneurs, are people that have strong leadership abilities, because there's a lot of things you have to do to be able to ensure that the activities go to a successful end. You have to work with people, right? You have to be able to trust and support other people who will join you in the process. Because sometimes you're not going to, that business may not be a business that you can do alone. You have to do it with people. So you have to serve as a manager or as a leader, for those people. Now, most of the time, businesses that are new don't have money, right? We call them cash poor, right? They got a lot of challenges. They are new. But if you have a good leader, that leader can drive it from the very young stage to make it to get successful, right? Because he's going to make sure that he can make the workers to get moved and motivated to work, and then he makes sure that they are aware. Yes, the funding we have for now is not much, but we can work along, we can give support, we can make it to happen. You have to have that kind of leadership skill to make sure that that happens. That's what entrepreneurs will also do, right? So they are leaders. There are challenges they have to overcome uh, that require leadership roles that they have to play. Now, what are the duties? Our duties as entrepreneurs. Um, every entrepreneur has some duties and functions that we're going to be looking at. The first one, you have to make decision, right? Decision making is very important in entrepreneurship. If you make sound decisions, you come out with sound products. If you make poor decisions, of course, you come out with poor products. That's what we say an entrepreneur is to determine what to produce, how to produce, how much to produce, where to produce, how to sell, and the rest comes. So you could produce something good, for example, but if you didn't know the quantity or you didn't know where the market to sell it, you might not be able to get what you want. So your decision on deciding or on taking the market, on looking at who are those I can sell this product to matters. So you have to look at that when you are, do you have the market for the produce you are about to put out, right? What is the size of the market? It will help you to know how much to produce. The techniques and styles and methods you have to use, the procedure you follow to be able to produce, those decisions must be taken. The entrepreneur will also decide the scale of production, right? Uh, the different combinations. You want to say maybe the recipe depending on what you are doing, right? The different things that are responsible, the different factors and combinations you will use, you have to decide that. Now, the entrepreneur takes decisions in business that are very important, and these decisions usually go around what you're going to buy, for example, right? The purchase, the factors responsible, the sales of the finished goods when you finish, when you sell, how you're going to do those sales. You have to take that decision. So decision making is very cardinal in entrepreneurship. If you take the wrong decision, you get the wrong things being done and you will get the wrong results. Management control is another work that you have to do, right? So you have to have a high ability to select the right type of people to work with you. It's not everyone that you see who will come to say, oh, I can do this, that can really do it. So you have to ensure that you have the right people. If you don't have the right people, you may not get what you are looking for. That's very important. Another function is your income, the division of income, right? You have to spend the money, whether you are losing or not. You have to, for example, if you're renting a place, you have to pay, right? If you had to pay interest on certain things, or people are working for you, you have to pay them. Other, things that have to be done must be done. So you're not going to say, oh, because things are tough, no money, this and that, so I will not do this. You have the responsibility to do so. That is what you have to do. The total money that comes in has to be spent on the different people in the different areas, factors of production, right, that you are using. So no excuse. You take the responsibility. You have to spend the money. So you have to know how to partition that in a very good way. Another thing is, like we said before, you have to take risk. No business without risk. So some of the business are very risky, but you have to get into it. So those who are afraid of taking risk in business, most of the time might not be able to become successful because risk taking is part of entrepreneurship. Risk taking is part of business. You have to go for it. Yes, you see it, but you know that if you went through and you were successful, you could get something going. Okay, let's take a simple thing like soap making. You want to produce soap. There are a lot of risk involved. But let me take this particular one. The mixing of the different components of the soap. Maybe the oil and the lye, or you call it the caustic soda that you're going to mix. You have certain quality of soap you are targeting, but there may be other factors that could be responsible and that could stop you from getting that quality. You expected to produce a hard soap, but now you have produced a soap that is very soft. Oh, there was a loss. That's not what you wanted, you know. So it could come from people stealing from you, money you put in. It could come from fire risk. Things go on fire, everything gets burned. A lot of things, many other things will happen in the business process. That's it. But you have to be able to uh, try to see those risks that you can manage. So some risks are measurable, and it is good to look out for some of those things. The next thing is that you can insure some of the risks, others you cannot insure. So those ones you cannot insure, well, you have to be able to work and do your work properly so that you are as accurate as possible. Like the one making the soap and having coming up with the soap being soft. Can you ensure that? No. No insurance company is going to go for that. All right. So in short, there's a lot of risk taken in entrepreneurship, and that's a duty. That's one of the duties you have to follow. Right. The next thing we already discussed innovation. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on this one. So we look at the characteristics of entrepreneur. They are facilitators, right? They are able to work with team. They are able to motivate them. They are able to help create the kind of enabling environment for people to grow and develop. That's one thing. A team player, a facilitator, a motivator. These are things that the entrepreneur will do. Self-confidence. You trust yourself, you believe in yourself, you know that you can do it, and you go for it no matter the challenges. You know that you can do it. You trust yourself and go for it. Oh, you don't just work in a blue sky as an entrepreneur. So you set time that you want to accomplish certain things. So you have vision, you have mission, and you want to accomplish certain things. What do you want to see happen? How are you going to do it? And you have these things spell out, right? So it's not going to happen by magic or miracle. No, I would say no 90-day wonders. No, you have to plan it. You have to know what you want, and you go for it, right? Set up the time to achieve that. High degree of endurance. Yeah. If you're not strong in that, you have to work long hours. You have to work long hours. You have to put in enough time. So if you are lazy, laziness cannot work with entrepreneurs. No food for lazy men. You've heard that before. No food for lazy men. You have to work. Troubleshooting is another thing. Yeah. Hmm. What is happening? What is responsible for this? What can we do? Find solution to that problem. You got to be more creative. Something is wrong and that is affecting what you were thinking about doing. So you got to be more creative to finding what is responsible for such a thing, and then you go ahead and find a solution. You identify the problem and find a solution. Of course, you have to be enterprising. You have to be able to, you know, undertake activities, initiatives, and you take personal responsibility, right? You take personal responsibility. You are responsible and you do everything to make use of all the uh, resources and opportunities you have available to you. You must have goals. So you must be able to set goals. Entrepreneurs are goal setters, right? They set goals that are realistic. In 4 days, I will be able to walk a 2 hour distance in 4 days. That is achievable, right? But you say in 4 days, I will be able to walk uh, a 200 hours distance. Uh, can you do that? So you set something that you can do within an acceptable time. You know, you can set uh, that goal even when there are challenges. You know that you are able to overcome the challenges and you are able to solve those problems. We talk about the risk-taking ability already. So entrepreneurs will usually know that yes, there are challenges here, but they say, okay, they go when they fail, they learn from their failures and they move on. Those who are afraid of failure are difficult or are usually will find it difficult to move ahead. So you have to be able to be strong, move around. There are types of entrepreneurs which we'll discuss in other lectures in details. Uh, but I have one or two of them here that for this lecture that I will just present to you. So we have those who are called classic entrepreneurs. Now, we're talking about people who will usually look at the challenges in the market, you know, and then they observe it, record it, and see what the business needs are, you know, and say, oh, this is something that I see here, I think I can solve, right? So they try to look for those business needs, then they develop companies, right? Come up with the small companies to see how they can uh, be able to address those challenges, all right? We call them classic entrepreneurs. They look for gaps and challenges and then find solutions by establishing a company that will solve those challenges. So we say sometimes uh, such entrepreneurs become inventors, right? In some cases, they work together with other people and then they develop new products, you know. And then other times, the classic entrepreneur will start a business and then continue that business and manage it for several years. There are a lot of people we see around uh, like that who have started some good businesses, you know, and they've done well. I always would like to make a reference to, for example, Mr. Mambo Johnson, one of the strong guys, you know, who came with Canon Fresh in Liberia, started with Canon Fresh, and then he's moved on to other products. You know, today he's still moving. Uh, that is, he's an excellent example. Started from nowhere and then he grew up. It's good to learn from, right? Another type of entrepreneur is a serial entrepreneur. So for them, they have pleasure in getting business started and then they sell the business to other people. They start a business, they sell it. Now, this kind of person is usually happy about starting new ideas. They take the risk, but when the business moves on, then he say, I think I want to do something else. So he gives the chance for another company, another business, another person to get that business, and he moves on and starts another one. That guy is a serial entrepreneur. So he starts new ideas as they pick up. He leaves them with another uh, people. He moves on with other ones. The social entrepreneurs, on the other hand, uh, these are people who consider social conscience with the business. While it's true that they want to make profit, they are also strongly thinking about connecting the business with other issues, social costs. For example, like we gave here, the entrepreneur may want to say, okay, I'm going to import some uh, trade fair goods for resale. I'm going to do this to be able to help to educate the public about the importance of maybe activism, right? So while he's making business, he's educating people, for example. So he's a social entrepreneur.